wrote me something. You said, this is a thing.
Oh, a hat.
You have an anxiety story about a hat, which feels about as highbrow as the stuff I have to talk to you about. I've been making notes. I have a little note, and the note, it's not.
You do?
It's not great. Over the last month, the things that I've been experiencing that I wanted you to weigh in. I wanted to hear a little bit about your process too. So that's why I have my note.
Sure. Well, I love your note. And what is this, Pete? Let's bring people in by the hand.
So you're not as much into the cold open where you just start.
No, I like it. I like it for this.
Feels like you're very much into, like, if there isn't a PowerPoint, thank you all for gathering with me at this meeting.
Oh, that I like. I like a set table.
I think you do too. Well,
yeah. Well, because I live in fear of accidentally recording myself. And as you remember from past seasons, we have finished an episode and I have stood up and gone on with my day and have continued to record the rest of my afternoon. And then I finally say, oh no, and I press stop and you get a 13-hour long file. That is true. That has happened before. So I always want to know that when I start listening back to something, I meant to be recorded. This was an on-purpose recording and not something I have to immediately call a lawyer.
Well, all right. That's funny because we work cross purposes to one another, because I think some of our best material is buried in the 13 hours of unknown recording. I know that wasn't explicitly where Puppy Machine came from, but I'm always on the lookout for the next Puppy Machine.
Oh, there was a new song. Oh, no, I can't remember what it was, but I sang it. And I remember feeling like I sang it without thinking about it. And then immediately was like, I'm so glad no one's in my apartment. What was it? The second verse was, this song got grim really fast. And it was something about Foster. I can't remember what it was, but it was, I start without a real melody or lyric, certainly not a rhyming lyric. And it just all goes downhill. Anyways, hi, feeling friends. I'm setting the table. This is your first of many threatened member bonuses as we are still in our hiatus, shaking off all of the rust. No, this is us.
We don't even have more rust yet because we just stopped recording the main show a month ago. This is just our first.
Doesn't it feel like forever?
It feels
though?
a little bit like
feels
forever.
like forever.
Yeah.
And I know you don't spend enough time podcasting, so I'm sure.
But this is
that's all you do.
This is the one. Don't tell my other podcast on, but this is the one I look forward to.
Oh, this is
this is the one.
This is the one.
I look forward to this one.
Hey, while we're telling secrets, can I say something? I never watched Tiger King. I never watched any Tiger King. I never did. And it's been out there for so long.
The guy is like dead now. Isn't he dead? I think he's dead.
I think someone's dead and someone's in jail, and he wanted Trump to pardon him.
That's true.
And it didn't happen. But I don't know anything. I don't know. I think his name is actually Mr. King. Mr. Tiger King. That's how little I know.
And you know what? Who gives a shit? Nobody gives a shit.
Hi, everybody. Back on the podcast. I'm like a cartoon person. I had a new anxiety that I mentioned to you about involving a hat.
Yeah.
That really took me by surprise, because you don't think that hats would give you anxiety. But it's pretty much over now. Well, no, it's actually sort of rounding out, because I wore my hat to a doctor's appointment yesterday and he had to talk about it.
You had a doctor that needed to talk about your hat? I'm looking for the text, because the text I feel is important, because it came in a list of texts.
I don't remember what it's
where you said do I have your permission to read some of these texts from you?
Sure. Yeah, we can always bleed things out.
Right.
Dear Pete, here's my social security number. Like, why would I?
We were in the middle of a text conversation on messages, and you said, I am angry that your notifications are silenced while you are actively unsilenced and texting me. Please review my last two texts over your text that you texted, and then we can go from there. Sorry, not the one about how angry I am about how you are using notifications. Oof. This is it. Oof. It sounds like you came up with a thesis before coming up with a plan. That I don't know what you were talking about, but I feel like before you get to the hat anxiety, I kind of need to settle, or we need to at least litigate to conclusion the notification challenge.
There's this big thing now where, like, I'll be texting with someone and it'll say they have their notifications silenced.
Oh.
but then they're still
I
texting.
see.
And for some reason that bothers me. And it's not just
Yeah.
you. There's like a number. Something happened with an update on phones where everyone's silenced and yet everyone's talking to me. And I feel like it's weirdly passive aggressive. I don't understand. How are you? You're not. It's like saying, I can't hear you. I can't hear what you just said. And you're like, you clearly can because you're talking to me. It's a very dumb thing to be angry about.
I feel
clearly
like
we are texting.
I
Nothing
don't
is
know
silenced.
what is going to come from your hat story, but I feel like this is the juice right here.
Such a weird. I don't remember being so emotional
It's
about
called
anything.
focus modes, and I think what would solve your problem is if you actually started using them sometimes. Focus modes are.
I use them.
That's what it is.
I use them at night. I use them for sleeping because then it has that thing where it's set up where if someone calls within 2 minutes, twice, then it'll go through. Because I told my parents to do that if there's ever an emergency.
So,
but focus during the day.
Well, I'll tell you why I use it is that I have it tied to. I have it tied to a script in my calendar that actually looks at when I'm busy and it within an appointment on my calendar. And usually that's a podcast. And when I'm recording, it just sets it to don't disturb. And that's why the notifications are silenced. And so what you saw was I probably finished something a little bit early and it was still in that mode and it told you that I was silenced like right now. And now, so I got the new fancy phone, right? And the new fancy phone has a button on the side instead of the mute switch. That's a button. And the button can be triggered. And if you hold that down, see what it did? I just pushed the button and it put it into do not disturb because I just didn't do that. You can swipe down from the thing and put it into do not disturb mode, and then you too will have your notifications are silenced
instead of all my alarms going off every time that we podcast.
Yes.
Well, that makes sense, and I didn't know that it was something that could happen automatically. What it seemed like to me was, hold on, during our conversation,
capriciously,
I cannot hear you right now. And here we go. And let's continue talking. Like you were just automatically putting it on. And I was like, why is this?
That is fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm so glad we resolved that. And I just hope it puts some of your angst to bed. Now tell me about this hat problem we need to deal with.
Well, the hat problem is I own 3 hats. One is just for working out because it says like Mud Country Store pickup place. It makes me immediately look like a hick, which is fine. One, it says something. Oh, and it says because I can't buy hats that have sports things on them because I don't ever know anything about the sports. So I have one hat that just says like surfing time because no one's going to think that I'm a surfer, but it doesn't fit very well. And so the main hat that I have is my CU hat, CU of Boulder, which was very innocuous for a zillion years and then became an incredibly hot topic of conversation with Coach Mr. Prime Man, with Coach Dion. And so that was my anxiety is I would just bring that hat forgetting that now it was everyone had things to say about it. And I didn't know much about it. Like I know his son is the quarterback and that's it. And we were doing great. And now no one's, the fun part is over as we just started being bad at football again, which is usually our MOD, our MOD. What's it called when our general way of doing things? MOD. Cut this out.
There's SOP,
standard operating procedure. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
Let's
and MO, modus operandi, but there's no
MO.
D at the end of it.
So I just our MOP, our MOP. I'm going to make up a new one.
This is staying in.
So people just started asking a ton of questions. One, this weird kind of way of like, oh, were you always a CU fan or just? And it would always stop at just. Meaning like there are certain people maybe that are protective of, I've always been a CU fan. And then when I'd say, I actually went to CU, then they were really interested.
Yeah.
And then I would sort of say like Rashaan Salam and like scuttle away because I didn't know anything about sports. I don't know anything about them. And so when I talked to my doctor, when I was in for a doctor appointment yesterday, he was like, oh, too bad about the Buffs, huh? It was a good thing, but then Oklahoma. And I was like, I don't know. Do I have diabetes?
I don't think that's true.
So that was my anxiety in a nutshell is people, when I was with the Disneyland vacation, that was the hat that I wore every day because of the sun. And people were constantly yelling out, go Buffs, or in line asking me questions about Coach Prime that I just didn't know about because I'm just hat blind. And then this one lady, I think maybe I mentioned this on the podcast, said, oh my God, I've never seen a CU hat in real life.
What?
And I said, what does that mean? And then I realized, they're just used to seeing it on TV now all the time.
Oh,
Is
my
people
God.
wearing CU hats? I know.
Oh, my God.
I just don't wear hats to get attention about sports. And all of a sudden, my one hat that fits got all of the sports attention, and it freaked me out. And like Uber drivers wanted to talk about it like it was too much.
I don't know how. I mean, as you can imagine, I relate to this.
Right.
And what I want to say is I slept in the dorms, dick. Like,
Right.
I don't need a hat. I ate the food.
Right.
And I also gave, I don't remember who it was like the backup quarterback. I told you this story about the backup quarterback for CU that we wrote up for smoking weed.
Oh, no.
In the dorms.
I don't remember that because that's right, because you were an RA.
Yeah. And so I mean, this is the thing for RAs. There are some RAs that really love to
Power.
Do the job.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And, our dear friend, Andy Nelson, he was my duty partner in the dorms when we were RAs together. And we would do our very best not to write anybody up because we were too busy talking about movies.
Yep.
And so we would go on rounds and then at some point you come down a hall and it was Baker Hall. It was in the pit, Baker Hall. You could walk, that was my floor, but it was the opposite wing. So it was another RA who lived on that floor. And it's an immediate contact high. You come down,
right?
The thing is like, it's like column of smoke coming out of the room. There's nothing you can do you cannot plausibly ignore it.
Put the bacon Baker.
Oh my goodness. So you knock on the door and all you hear is like bottles and glass. And so just a minute, who is it? And it's like,
there's no pot in here.
Please open the door. And that's all you hear is,
oh, real quick. Yeah.
Oh, real quick. And then they open the door and it's a whole bunch of people. It's like 18 people in the room, and they're all sitting around the edges of the room as if there's a dance floor in the middle of the room. And we said, you guys, we smell it. And this, I don't even remember his name, this football player, he's like, it's my deodorant, man.
Weird.
And what the best part is, like, in the whole room, like all the people are sitting there, and it's like it's like they're in a study group, like they're in a study group in the study hall at Hogwarts, and right in the middle of the room, in this completely cleared out dance floor, they'd forgotten to pick up this like 3 foot tall water bong that's like sitting there like a trophy.
It's my deodorant too.
So, that was my see, that's as close as I got to a high school. And of course, where my room was, like, you open the window and there's one, the dumpster where they picked up the trash, and two, the practice field where the marching band practiced. Do you remember where that was? It was like, what was that? It was like Kittredge and Baker and Libby, and I don't remember what the other was. Farrand?
Yep, Farrand. That's where I stayed, was Farrand.
Okay, so you were also on that, whatever that was called, the quad thing. What was that called? Some field. Farrand Field?
Farrand Field is where the smoke out would be every year and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, God. So anyway, that's where I looked out at that. So, 6 a.m. during season, man, that band is enthusiastic.
I was around on the back corner of Farrand, so I was spared that for the most part.
Rough sailing. Anyway, that's as close as I ever got to football. I didn't go to a single game.
Oh, you did?
In my tenure there. Not a
went
single
to all
game.
of them. We loved them. But then, like, trying to pregame for a morning game was very awkward.
Very awkward.
Yeah, and all we have is like daiquiri mix. Like, none of us have an actual hookup, and so we're just like drinking straight tonic. Just thinking, maybe if I drink enough of this, I'll get a buzz. Yeah, it's so weird. And then stepping out into like a 30-degree day.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, bad news.
Buzzed and sick.
Okay. I totally hijacked you with your CU hat, but that was my entire story. Was there more?
Sure.
Is it resolved?
Well, no. Now they're talking about
how you need a new hat?
It's off. I bought a new hat. It's that surfing hat, but it doesn't fit. I don't know what to do. I need a hat that is non-denominational. Like, it can't be about anything.
Have you considered, and just stay with me?
Yeah.
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
Do they make hats?
They make hats.
That'd be kind of cool, actually, because of our podcast. I wouldn't not do that. Yeah, it just needs, because like when I first moved here, I bought an LA hat because I was like, hey, I live in Los Angeles. Isn't this cool? But it was the LA Dodgers. I didn't know that was their logo. And so people were asking me about number 23. And I'm like, God, all I want to do is cover my dumb student council hat.
Yeah,
So
no,
wait.
the ATF hats, they just say in the biggest print you can possibly imagine, ATF on the front. If you get there is also like Feds apparel, because it can't look exactly like the thing, but you can get the at fedsapparel.com, you can get the one with the actual badge on it.
Feds apparel, uniform solutions for federal, state, look. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, there's a whole
so
bunch.
We could get like jackets and stuff and tactical pants.
I love headwear, functional workwear. Who would get the Department of State? So dumb. The Department of Commerce. What a dope hat.
Yeah. Yeah. I could get an FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force Agency identifier jacket for $44.99. $45, and I'm practically in the job.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to look into
like a
these.
mistake to have this website available. Oh, no, this is a real problem. We have a real problem. If you try to check out, it does require you to have employment verification.
Oh, this is really for real people.
Yeah, it turns out, don't use this. You'll get arrested.
Oh, no. All right. All items with federal agency insignia is restricted to current federal employees and law enforcement officials. Well, clearly there's one thing we have to do. Get a government job
is what we have to do. Absolutely.
Then I get my sweet Department of Commerce hat. How legit. Stupid.
Hey, everybody. Okay, I know it's true. We're doing that thing where we give you a little bit of a show. In this case, it's kind of a lot. That's like the first 2 bits of this special bonus episode that normally just goes out to members. That's a lot of bit that we just gave you. But the members get even more bits. They get bits like the toenail story. They get bits like finding the hidden underwear pocket. I know, these are crazy. They even get the what is now the 2023 desk tour of Tommy and Pete. There's just a lot that comes later in the episode that you're not getting because you're not members. And we would love you to become a member. We love doing the show, but it does come at a cost, and we could always use the help, especially this holiday season. You're looking for a gift for Uncle Tommy and Uncle Pete, then head over to allthefeelings.fun and sign up to become a member. You can become a member at monthly or annual. Save a little bit if you become an annual member, and we would love you, and we'll send you stuff. Tom just finished the mailing as I record this. Stuff is coming to members right now. Like, how much more excitement do you need in your life? Like, you could be done with excitement if you become a member, because you'll have had it all. And wouldn't that be a relief? Because your doctor will love you, because your blood pressure will be normalized. You won't have to worry about, free radicals and stuff. Like, all that stuff will be solved if you become a member. So thank you, members, for supporting this. Make sure to check your member feed, because you don't have Uncle Pete rambling a lot about membership. You actually get the real deal. You get the toenail story and the underwear pocket and the desk tour. And those are, instant classics. You know what I mean? Allthefeelings.fun. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you so much for supporting the show, for considering supporting the show. You know what? You can even give gift memberships of this show so your friends and family can have their, excitement resolved. Anyway, you're the best. Thank you. Happy holidays. And we'll be back monthly until our next season starts. Which is going to be coming a little bit into next year. So become a member. You get all the monthly bonus episodes. It's really great. Okay. Thanks, everybody.